Okay, everybody, the first book I'm reading, I'm only going to read the first 2 pages. I was wrong. I was going to say 3, but this is my lunch break and I don't have that much time. So, motivational book, inspirational book, spiritual book. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start reading 2 pages. I've got to set their time allotment. So the first book I'm going to read, and I'm going to read the first 2 pages. The first one I'm reading is Moby Dick by Herman Melville. Chapter 1. Remember, we're only reading 2 pages a day. Moby Dick, Chapter 1, Loomings. Call me Ishmael. Some years ago, never mind how long precisely, have little or no money in my purse and nothing particular to interest me on shore. I thought I would sail about a little and see the watery part of the world. It is a way I have of driving off the spleen and regulating circulation. Whenever I find myself growing grim about the mouth, whenever it is a damp, drizzly November in my soul, whenever I find myself involuntarily pausing before coffin warehouses and bringing up the rear of every funeral I meet, and especially whenever my hypos get such an upper hand to me that it requires a strong moral principle to prevent me from deliberately stepping into the street and methodically knocking people's hats off, then I account it high time to get to sea as soon as I can. This is my substitute for pistol and ball. With a philosophical flourish, Cato throws himself upon his sword. I quietly take to the ship. There is nothing surprising in this. If they but knew it, almost all men in their degree, some time or other, cherish very nearly the same feelings toward the ocean with me. There now is my insular city of Manhattan, belted round by wharves of Indian isles, by coral reefs. Commerce surrounds it with her surf. Right and left, the streets take you waterward. Its extreme downtown is the Battery, where that noble mole is washed by the waves and cooled by the breeze, which a few hours previous were out of sight of land. Look at the crowds of water gaze there. Circumambulate the city of dreamy Sabbath afternoon. Go from Corliers, hook to Contes, slip and from thence be Whitehall northward. What do you see? Posted like silent sentinels all around the town, stand thousands upon thousands of mortal men fixed on ocean rivalries. Some leaning against the spiles, some seated upon the pierheads, some looking over the bulwarks of the ship from China, some high aloft in the riggings as if striving to get still better seaward peep. But these are all landsmen, of weekdays pent up in the lath and plaster, tied to counters, nailed to benches, clinched to desks. How then is it, are the green fields gone? What do they hear? But look, here come more crowds, pacing straight for the water, and seemingly bound for a dive strange. Nothing will content them but the extremest limit to the land. Loitering under the shady lee of yonder warehouses will not suffice. No, they must get as nigh the water as possible, can without falling in. And there they stand, miles of them, leagues inland all. They come from lanes and alleys, streets and avenues, north, east, south, and west. Yet here they all unite. Tell me, does the magnet virtue of the needles of the compasses of all those ships attract them thither? Once more say you are in the country, in some high land of lakes. Take almost any path you please, and 10 to 1 it carries you down in a dale and leaves you by a pool in the stream. There is magic in it. Let the most absent-minded of men be plunged in this deepest rivalries. Stand the men in the legs, set his feet a-going, and he will infallibly lead you to water. If water there be in the region, should you ever be harassed in the great American desert, try this experiment. If your caravan happens to be supplied with metaphysical professor, yes, as everyone knows, meditation and water are wedded forever. But here is an artist. He desires to paint you the dreamiest, shadiest, quietest, most enchanting bit of romantic landscape in all the valley of the Saco. What is the chief element he employs? There stands his trees, each with a hollow trunk, as if a hermit and a crucifix were within. And here sleeps his meadow, and there sleep his cattle, and upon from yonder cottage goes a sleepy smoke. Deep in the distant woodlands winds a maze way, reaching to overlapping spurs of mountains bathed in their hillside blue. But thou, the picture, liest thus tranced, and thus thou, pine tree, shakes its sighs like leaves upon the shepherd's head, yet all were vain, unless the shepherd's eye were fixed upon the magic stream before him. Go visit the prairies in June, when for scores of miles you wade knee-deep among tiger lilies. What is the one charm wanting? Water. There is not a drop of water there. Were Niagara but a catrate of sand, would you travel your 1,000 miles to see it? Why did the poor poet of Tennessee, upon suddenly receiving 2 handfuls of silver, deliberately whether to buy him a coat, which he sadly needed, or invest his money in a pedestrian trip, Rockaway Beach? Wow. I forgot why I've read this only once. Alright. That was the first 2 pages of Moby Dick. I don't know if we're going to keep reading that one or not, but we're going to try.